on Facebook. All right.
Oh, is he? He's talking.
He's trying to. It's just mostly gurgles and stuff coming out. All right. Hello, chat. Corey, are you live now too?
I am live now too.
Okay. Hello, chats. Welcome to another recording of Tapcaf Transmissions. So, for those of you who don't know how this works, Tapcaf Transmissions is the Star Wars podcast that Corey and I run. We're recording it right now, so don't expect us to respond to comments or even donations. Sometimes at the end we take a few comments, but just, keep that in mind that we are trying to record something that can be listened to later. So, a little bit different than a normal live stream.
Yeah.
I think it's your turn to do the intro, Corey.
All right. I will happily do an intro because I know how much you hate intros.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're doing both episodes of The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, we'll probably just cover episode 2 very quickly, I imagine.
Yeah. But just to make sure that I'm introducing this properly.
Yes.
Because I don't want to mess this up. This is important.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I delayed long enough for me to press the sync button on GitHub. I'm a professional.
Jesus Christ.
I'm also trying to see why my OBS is being kind of weird, but I'm going to press the button twice.
Okay. Sounds like you had a kid too, and you've been taking some time off? Because this is, to be honest, this is fucking unacceptable.
There, that's what I was looking for. All right.
Okay.
As soon as we started, my furnace turned on. So I was trying to turn it off.
That's kind of rude, to be honest, of the furnace.
This is annoying. I pressed off, but it hasn't turned off yet. Either way, screw it.
Yeah, we're fine. It's pretty easy to... it makes a consistent sound. It's very easy to noise cancel it out.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, my furnace just got canceled live on stream. You all heard it. But, okay, clear comms. Everyone calm down. It's really exciting that we're back, but try to remain calm. Hello there, and welcome back to Tapcaf Transmissions, the only Star Wars podcast. I am your host, as always, Corey of Corey Loses in Corey's Datapad, but joining me is a very special guest, the regular host of this podcast, alongside me, Mr. Justin Eckhart's Ladder. How are you doing, Mr. Eckhart's Ladder?
I'm good. Can't complain. I've been living the dream. Took so much time off. And yeah, now I'm back. Maybe not next week, but for this week at least, I'm back.
Yeah, we took a grand total of 1 week off between episodes. We're back to our regular schedule from a few months ago.
Yeah.
But I normally, between episodes, I talk to you a lot. But between these last 2 episodes, I really haven't talked to you that much.
Yeah.
So has anything big happened for you?
We did have a baby, which was pretty epic. A little girl named Imogen. She was born on the 5th. That was like last Thursday, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, because it was Mando night she was born. Kind of inconvenient, to be honest.
I'm trying to get a review done, so if you could just stay in there.
Yeah, and I was like, Kelsey, if she wakes up at 4:00, I'll take that shift. But yeah, she was born on the 5th, and she's been like literally the best, most perfect child ever. Like I was talking to you before stream, she sleeps like in 4-hour increments. So she'll wake up, she'll feed, then she'll go back to sleep for 4 hours. So like me and Kelsey are both getting like 8 hours of sleep a night. Like I'm sleeping legitimately better than I usually do, which is something. And yeah, she doesn't cry much. She's just been chilling. She watched the Mando with me this morning. So yeah, been a pretty good experience.
So we are going to be talking about episode 3, or I guess chapter 11, as our main focus for today, but a little bit about chapter 10 as well, because we didn't have a chance to talk about that. But did she have any first thoughts on on this week episode. I assume she didn't go back and watch last week's unless she just wanted to
She
know what was
slept
going
through
on.
most of it, to be honest, which I thought was
Okay.
pretty rude.
Yeah.
And then
So we're saying Jon Favreau is just out now if he can't hold the attention. Like someone who literally has seen nothing before, he can't hold her attention for 38 minutes.
Yeah,
What's even the point?
And I will say too, she had a very interesting introduction to media because the first song she ever heard when we were driving home was Iron Man by Black Sabbath.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then it was Jesse's Girl. So since the last episode, I haven't had a kid, but while you've been gone, I've had full custody of Charlie. So that's kind of similar, right? Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, and this is coming from obviously I'm a man, I can't breastfeed or anything like that. I've tried, it doesn't work. It's having a kid is like, it's hard, but the newborn stage, unless you've got like a really colicky baby, is not that bad. Like, taking care of Charlie is far more worse, or far more difficult, because like a newborn won't chew your baseboards or like stick their fingers in electrical sockets. They just kind of lie there. So like Charlie, a new puppy, it's all much more difficult.
Yeah, and like me and Charlie are doing Beerio Kart tonight with Star Wars Explained. So I have to make sure that we're all still friends with him afterwards.
Yeah, I told Charlie to be on his best behavior. So,
well, look at how that went on Wasted's first Beerio Kart. So
I talked to Alex today. I was like, prepare yourself.
Well, he met Charlie like as drunk Charlie, right? That was their
in
first
person as well.
So,
yeah.
So it can't get much worse than that.
We'll see. I'm gonna try to tune in for parts of it because I've got to. Yeah, I'm gonna try to tune in for parts of it.
All right. Well, we are here to talk about one thing and only one thing: Star Trek Discovery.
I haven't seen a single episode of that show.
Neither have I. But yeah, what did you? So before we get into the
spoiler portion,
into the episode from last night.
Oh,
yeah, I guess we could do a non-spoiler portion.
Quick spoiler portion, like a 2-minute spoiler section for both episodes.
Spoiler free,
and then if you don't want any more spoiler free section.
We're gonna only talk about what actually happened for 2 minutes, and then we'll go really vague after that.
Yeah. For
everyone who hasn't seen it yet.
we'll give a brief impression of both episodes, and then if you want to come back later or whatever or not, that's fine. I liked both. I thought both were great. I liked the most recent one a little bit more, and the most recent one is definitely one of my favorites. Probably not my most favorite, but probably top 4, I'd say. That'd be my quick impression.
Yeah, so I thought the second episode was fine. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. If I'm doing a rewatch, if there's an episode that I'll skip, it might even be that one. Depending on how important Frog Lady becomes in the future of the series.
She's so cool, though.
I'm gonna guess not very.
She's so cool.
We did get to see Richard. Nope, spoiler free.
Yeah.
We saw Richard Dean Anderson. I didn't want to. We weren't supposed to talk about MacGyver being on this episode and the Stargate crossover, but yeah, it was fine. And then this latest episode, though, from last night was, I think, my favorite episode of the series.
Fair. I heard you say that in your review today, and
it was visually one of the best I think we've seen.
With that.
A lot of cool shots, some cool assets. And plot-wise, I think it's one of the more important ones we've seen.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much as far as we can go without spoilers. So let's kind of go fully into spoiler mode, guys. If you want to tune out and watch it beforehand, you should do so. This is a show that I think I enjoy it even being spoiled because it's very atmospheric, but you should probably watch it for the first time without spoilers. So you have a second. Let's dive right into, first of all, episode 2. Well, I guess give me your kind of less restrained thoughts on the episode now that you can talk specifics.
There wasn't very much that happened. Like, I thought it was a fun monster episode, but like plot wise, not a huge amount that happened. We did get the biggest Star Wars controversy out of it.
Yes,
if we want to talk about Babygate a little bit.
I do want to talk about it, Egggate for sure.
Egggate.
Yeah. So I did a video on Egggate too, and that's like probably the best first hour of any video I've had in 6 months. Like people saw like Yoda and the eggs, and they were like, okay, I fuck with this big time. It got like 30,000 views in like the first 45 minutes, and I was like, okay, like I never do that unless it's like Star Wars on season, but yeah, it was. Let's just, I guess, to briefly summarize, because there are people who don't live on Star Wars Twitter, who might not be familiar with what's going on in the episode. Baby Yoda. Well, first of all, the premise of the episode is that the Mandalorian is ferrying this frog lady, who I think is just an amazing creature. The costume design is so cool, all practical effects and everything. He's somehow ferrying her at sublight speeds, which is probably worth discussing, between planets, so she can kind of give birth to what is like her last cycle of eggs. Well, she's given birth to the eggs, but they're not fertilized yet. And I will say, some people compare this to a chicken, but it is a chicken's egg, but it is a little different, because when a chicken has their eggs, they're either fertilized or not. So like the rooster doesn't fertilize the chicken's eggs after they've been laid. But anyway, the eggs aren't fertilized yet, but she wants to go to this planet so they can be, and then she can have her last kind of batch of children. It's her last chance. She's kind of like a refugee, or it's called the passenger because she is the passenger, and in return she's going to help the Mandalorian find more Mandalorians. And of course the controversy is that Baby Yoda eats like 3 of them. And yeah, what did, and there's a lot of kind of, I think the main issue that I saw people take with it is the fact that the show presents it as kind of a disturbing thing, it on one hand, but it plays the actual eating of the eggs as a joke. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you obviously can't be mad at the stupid baby for eating the eggs.
Of course not.
But I think if they had used it to show like, oh, the Mandalorian needs to pay a bit more attention and is just a horribly irresponsible guardian for this 50-year-old baby, then it's fine. But like, I don't think it was a super big deal. I do think there are implications to it that are worth exploring, but I don't think we need to cancel the child just yet. No,
and I'm one of those people where like, I think the show gave you everything you needed to make your own decision. Because like the reason why people are feeling like it's disturbing is because the show shows you that it's disturbing. Like it sets up like the mother as a very kind of likable character with a very, you know, she's in a very tough situation, and these eggs are very clearly important to her. I kind of felt like, and like, I don't think a show really needs to hold your hand down like the path of how you're supposed to feel, if you know what I mean. Like, I thought that the scene was more supposed to make you reflect on like what, because the fact that Baby Yoda is getting in all the shenanigans is funny. I think the humor was kind of meant to have you as a viewer kind of reflect on what's going on. Like,
well, anything the child does is gonna be funny and cute, no matter what he's doing. It's gonna come across that way. Unless he like literally walks out wearing a Nazi armband, then there's very little you can see him.
I honestly don't know if that would do it. I'm just joking. No, but yeah, you're right. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, it's I feel like it shows him getting like slightly chastised for it. I think really the responsibility lies on the mother for leaving if she doesn't want the eggs eaten, then she should have communicated that to literally anyone at any point. It's like, it seems like Din is more concerned about it than she is. Like, oh look, the kids are getting eaten again. And then the next episode, we see that when they have the kids, it's just the one, and the child quickly bonds with them. So and like a little reptile in a bowl, and they only get 1 out of the 30 eggs. So maybe they were just like, hey, we want this one, snack away. that's what we didn't see, is that Baby Yoda was given the rest of those eggs to snack on while he was babysitting. And far worse than anything that happened in that episode was the fact that Din left the child with that reptile thing. That's like asking for them to get murdered.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, 100%, because people are after the baby like all the time. It's just like the show has done a good job of showing that like there was even something in the first episode where the Mandalorian's in that kind of fight club and he about to use the what are they called, the whistling birds or whatever, and then the Baby Yoda like pops into his little carrier, and like, yeah, that's funny, but it also shows that like the child's being around a lot of violence on a really frequent basis. And like, yeah, it is played up as a laugh, but it's also like, I think something the show is going to actually address, because we kind of consistently see that the Mandalorian, he tries, but he doesn't quite have all parenting down yet.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to wait for the next couple of trilogies of movies to see what the fallout from this is, because being around so much violence and anger as a baby, this like Baby Yoda is clearly going to be the next Sith Lord. It's the next
he's already force choked somebody. So
yeah, like this is the road we're going down. We're going to see Darth Yoda, and
I'm here for it.
People need to accept that.
Yeah, I mean, this thing has been blown out of proportion too, by both sides of the issue, I guess. Like, there's there's like three sides. There's reporters or YouTubers like me who are reporting on it because it's funny, and then there's the people who, and like, listen, if somebody was offended by the episode, like, I'm not trying to say that sucks, or I mean that does suck. I'm not trying to say that that's stupid or whatever else, because there are reasons that people, stuff related to pregnancy or whatever else, like, that's not what I'm talking about. But it's just been it's been an egg mountain out of an egg molehill, I'd say.
Yeah, and like, he didn't make an omelet out of it. That could have been worse. He didn't eat the baby from the bowl. Yeah, I'm not sure if he wanted to or if he just wanted to keep playing with it, but he had that opportunity.
I don't think he did, because there's that scene, both episodes have a scene where he kind of puts his face up to the jar, and then in episode 3 he sees something like life come out of it, and on my second watch there's like, okay, he actually realizes what's going on. Like, I don't think he realized what he was doing the first time. But yeah, anything else about episode 2 you want to talk about?
Well, so after the Crate Dragon stuff, which was very KOTOR-y, I at first thought I forget what they're actually called, the ones from Rebels, the spiders that showed up in the last episode.
Oh yeah,
I thought they might have been Kinrath.
That
like, I
cool.
saw the little eggs first, and I was like, are those Kinrath eggs? Then I saw the spider things, like, are those Kinrath? And I was like, no, it's the Rebels one. Which crossovers like that are still fun, but it's not quite the thing I thought it would be. But other than that, I don't think I had much to say about episode 2. I think it was
okay. It was
one of the more disposable ones. Still fun, but not necessarily game changing.
I like the cantina scene at the beginning of the episode with the giant ant, which I'm just gonna call it Killick.
It's Killick. Yeah.
Dr. Mandible, which is hilarious. And then there were one of those giant, I forget the name of it, the giant furry aliens.
Those are Wookiees.
No, I thought it was a Wookiee first, because I thought it was Chalman, like from Chalman's Cantina. But
is it a Taos?
No, not a Taos.
Or the G one.
It's the G one. It's the one from Rogue One. It's like the giant one that's got the machine gun, a Gagarin.
I just got a book for tabletop RPG stuff that has the character stat sheet for it. So I literally just read it yesterday, but I couldn't remember it.
It's kind of like a Wookiee that straightened its hair.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think the book even talks about how they're often mistaken for Wookiees in universe. But
yeah, I'm actually.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm looking at the wiki page, and that's the first line.
The wiki page.
The Star Wars wiki page.
But do you want to quickly touch on the whole sublight speed traveling thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to happen, is it?
But it did twice.
I mean,
I usually don't like that, but it's also seems to be
yeah,
like a callback to the episode 5 thing, which was,
yeah.
in my opinion, dumb then and it's dumb now. But
So this has kind of been a problem that I've had since the first A Certain Point of View came out. Because that book is kind of, or that one of the anthology stories, I think it's Ramus and Tilly's stories, talks about them traveling at sublight speed, and they give a distance, then they give a time, and it turns out they're traveling at like 100 times the speed of light at sublight speed. So it's like Star Wars also often has like problems with like stellar distances or whatever, but it's that stuff really doesn't bother me. It's like I see that and I kind of like want it to bother me, but then at the end of the day, I'm like, I want to care, but I just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I wish it wouldn't happen, but it doesn't bother me when it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so do you want to move on to the Heiress?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else from that other episode I want to talk about. I will say I've been talking about this on Twitter a bit, but the show's been using a lot of that Star Wars wildlife guidebook, the old Legends book, and the spiders and their eggs are right out of there in design too. The crate dragon
were
they were designed for episode 5. Yeah. They were going to be on Dagobah, and then that didn't happen, but they've been kind of a thing in Star Wars lore for a very long time. I think since like one of the early source books, might have been like there was that source book that did like Bespin and I think maybe Dagobah as well. I think it might have been in that, or one of the very early ones anyway, and it's kind of been a thing since. And I'm pretty sure it will appear when we read Dark Saber as well, or one of those books.
Yeah,
which we've got to look forward to.
But we have the beautiful Gozanti. We have that beautiful crane walker thing.
I love that thing.
We have a Mon Calamari colony planet that is not Mon Calamari. It's instead Trask.
Yeah, I just, right before this episode went live, I posted, wow, so cool that we finally got to see the vaunted Mon Calamari shipyards. And I feel bad because a few people thought I was being serious. And I just posted like the most rundown picture I could find from the episode of it. But yeah, that planet was really cool. It was so awesome to go, like, because it's just very, very different than anything we've seen before. Like, it's not just some kind of like small outpost or like wild planet. Like, it's a big industrial port. There's a few scenes where you kind of get the full scale of the planet, like as the Razor Crest is falling, and then there's another scene when they're coming out of the water. And it's a huge kind of little colony on there.
Yeah, is the Razor's Crest just going to crash everywhere now? It seems to be having some troubles.
Yeah, it's had a bit of a rough go, hasn't it?
Yeah, and now it's filled with netting and stuff. If I thought the Akbar's constant water puns and references in the books were bad, this guy that fixed up the ship, just netting everywhere.
Yeah. And this is why I think it's possible we might have one more episode before the big Ahsoka reveal. Just because, like, I think they're going to need to get the ship fixed. And I forget who it is that... I think Carl Weathers directs the next episode as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a return to that planet before he goes off to find Ahsoka, which I would be cool with because I like those kind of episodes that move the plot forward but aren't huge action-packed extravaganzas. And I think for an episode 4, that would maybe make some sense. Then maybe he picks up Grief and whoever else for the journey.
Yeah. Like this, I was worried. I think something we were both worried about is how they'd work in some of the character cameos. And I think we were both pretty okay with how Boba was handled.
Yes.
Bo-Katan makes sense. And this is, I think, the best way to do the Ahsoka one, but I'm still a little bit worried about that. I don't want it to become, like, if Ahsoka sticks around too long and gets too embroiled in galactic politics, which it seems like they are going to with... reestablish Mandalore as something. So I think they have to be careful with that.
I'm still a little worried. I think I'm a little more worried than you were.
Well, I just think Ahsoka in particular, this is the best way. If they have to bring her back for it, this is better than what it could be.
Yes.
Because there's still the chance that she just pops up and off she goes, and maybe Din helps Bo-Katan, but
maybe she's killed.
Maybe Ahsoka gets killed?
Yeah.
It could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, she does have to use her Force voice in episode 9. I mean, does that necessarily mean she's dead?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that. I forget who it is that said that doesn't mean they're necessarily dead. I think it was Pablo or somebody.
Because like Ezra wasn't in there though. Famous, important Jedi Ezra.
Yeah.
And we still have to see what makes him famous and important later.
Yeah, Thrawn wasn't in there either. What the hell?
Yeah,
Jedi
he's
Thrawn.
the biggest Jedi.
Yeah. So how old is Bo-Katan supposed to be? I was trying to figure that out today because it's like almost 25 years after the Clone Wars. So at first it was like
she's like 45 to
45. Katie Sackhoff's like 40 in real life, so it kind of works. I was like, Katie Sackhoff looks way too young. Like she looks like she's early 30s, and I was like, no, Katie Sackhoff just aged really well. And like,
yeah, and Star Wars aging usually doesn't age. So Katie Sackhoff's good aging it works for Star Wars. So
it's because she's been wearing the helmet the whole time. She hasn't gotten any sun. She's still got like that baby skin.
Well, she does take the helmet off sometimes, which, as we find out from Din, is a big problem for him. And that's how we learn Din is actually part of, I guess, Death Watch, but we're not entirely sure if it's
Junior.
Death Watch, as we know. Yeah. D-Watch.
I do like how he just nopes the fuck out of there. He's just like, nope, and he just leaves. I noticed you kind of talking about this, and I think it was one of your reviews of how like people have got to come to terms with like the groups that they put themselves in, and I'm sure it was a pretty big shock for him to discover that not all Mandalorians are the way that he is.
Yeah. Because he knows his group as a foundling. Like he was in a kid in the Clone Wars, and then would have just lived under the Empire, which was trying to dismantle Mandalore. And we don't know what. Do we know when exactly they kind of glassed Mandalore in new canon?
I think we're pretty. I think the kind of whole purge situation is still pretty up in the air, like what actually happened.
Yeah. So, we don't know how much he's been exposed to the like Satine and post Death Watch Bo-Katan.
Presumably not at all, maybe, because I'm guessing he's just been on Navarro like a lot of the time and like in that local sector kind of doing things.
Yeah, so like he's got to learn like kind of examine what all the Mandalorian code, greed, cultural things that he kind of took for granted.
He's got to read every Legacy of the Force book.
Yeah. It's like, we're not this powerful.
Please get Karen on the phone.
I was wondering when they were going down that hallway and you see Bo-Katan like shiv a guy in the neck, which is a weird thing to see a
comic book
or
a
cartoon
character
first do, but like thinking like, I wonder what Karen Travis is thinking watching this. Like, no, she needs to be slicing his head right off.
That reminds me of the from episode 4. I saw like a comic of, or like a meme of this, and it was like, it's like, you knew my father? And Luke says to Obi-Wan, he's like, yes, I was a cartoon character just like he was, or whatever the line is. I thought that was funny, but it was kind of weird seeing the transition, but I feel like it worked pretty much as well as it could have. Like I showed Kelsey, who watched it with me, I showed Bo-Katan to her, and Katie Sackhoff, it helps that she looks just like the character. It's gonna be
really got the voice down too somehow.
Crazy. Which is why it's gonna be a little weirder with Rosario Dawson, assuming Ashley doesn't actually come in and do voiceover, which I'm gonna assume she doesn't.
It'll be like the badly dubbed Netflix movies.
Well, I mean, Star Wars is pretty good with ADR though. Like if you watch like A New Hope, pretty much everyone's ADR'd. But
Darth Vader famously,
they
really got his mouth to line up with.
can't use the shot. He's smiling.
Ahsoka's just holding her cloak over her mouth the whole time. Why are you talking like that?
Yeah.
Because the way.
What was I gonna say? Yes, I mean it was a really good live action translation. I thought the armor especially looked really cool.
Everything looks so good in this episode. Like the planet was really good. That transport was so good. The Gozanti looked phenomenal.
Yeah, the Gozanti especially looked so good. I've noticed a real increase generally in visual effects this season. We talked about this a bit in episode 1. There was nothing like the crate dragon scene in episode 1. Where, especially the part where it comes out of the mountain. And the Gozanti scene was better than anything we saw in episode 1. I think the scene where he's crashing towards the planet was really phenomenal as well. And like I paused to look at that after as well. And like that planet, Trask, it's got so much detail, and like they did such a good job kind of giving it a personality and a life. It'll be a shame if it doesn't appear in anything else again, because I really wanted to see more of it.
And we've been talking about like KOTOR references, and it's right there.
Oh yeah, Trask.
There we go.
Named after a short-lived Republic soldier.
He was at most a lieutenant.
He tried to fight a Sith with a sword. Didn't work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that planet was awesome. One of my complaints about this episode was it was a little short, and I wish they would have spent more time. Like, I wish they would have slowed down a little bit before getting on the boat. Like, even just walk through a fish market and show us some weird Star Wars fish, you know?
Yeah.
Because those have been... Sorry, go ahead.
That's something that we got a bit in this episode that was definitely lacking in the previous season, or something we've gotten all season that was lacking the first season. Like, here we get... They look kind of like Earth animals in some cases, but they're just different enough. And we got like Buffy Raw climbing up at the end of the episode.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
But in the first season, we see the village that he goes to with like the fishing village, and I was like, oh cool, we're gonna see some nice Star Wars, some new little niche Star Wars animals, because that's always fun. It's like, no, we're catching shrimp. God damn it. Yeah,
like there was some in this episode, but I just would have loved them to go through some like spend an extra 5 minutes of the episode like exploring the planet, you know?
Yeah,
which
there definitely could have been more, but it's better than it was last season.
Yeah, like some planets were good, like Navarro was good. They had that scene where like they're roasting the monkey lizards, which was funny. But then there were other episodes where it's just like, yeah, this is just Earth. I did laugh a little bit when they're feeding the creature and they just throw in, it's just tuna or something, and throwing tuna in her, well, not tuna, but a small fish. But yeah, it was a really cool planet. I hope we see more of it. I like that walker too. Very cool design. It kind of reminded me a bit of the planet itself. Reminded me of Corellia from Solo in a good way. It's got that kind of always like ship traffic overhead, and lots of barges flying around, and very industrial and kind of cold looking. It was fun.
Yeah. Like the second half of this episode will seem pretty familiar to us in particular, I think.
Yeah.
We just did it 2 weeks ago in a tabletop series. So that I thought that was really cool, because like, oh, this is the room that Neytiri was in when she was holding them hostage.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's that corner.
There's the cargo hold. Yeah. So for those of you who only listen to the podcast, we've been doing a tabletop campaign. And what's the official name of the Star Wars rule set we play under?
It's just the Fantasy Flight Games Edge of the Empire. I guess I think we've been doing Age of Rebellion.
Age of Rebellion, yeah.
But it's the branding on that is stupid. That's a whole other.
It's just Star Wars tabletop, and one of our most recent escapades was kind of a fight on a Gozanti cruiser that started when one of our friends, Charlie, tried to rob somebody who was drunk and asleep, but and Charlie's a stealthy character, but he did not roll very well, and he was unable to quiet the situation, and it just got totally out of hand. That was a really fun moment, but yeah, it was kind of surreal. And you mentioned that in your review that you did, I watched, you mentioned that this whole series is kind of like Star Wars tabletop, and that's kind of what I feel the whole time. Like, when I play a tabletop game, I try to imagine kind of the, if we go to a new planet, like you imagine all the stuff that's going on, and it's like this is just that brought to life, which has been really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit more of a view of how the Empire is operating right now. A lot more can't be taken alive fanaticism that's starting to develop that I think kind of transitions nicely into the First Order. Like we watched the guy pop his electric cyanide pill.
Yeah, I like that.
And, just die rather than give up the location of Gideon, which I do feel they went a bit too far out of their way to make Bo-Katan and that character not say Moff Gideon, just so that Din can't recognize what's going on. Be like, oh yeah, he's over. We saw him. He should be dead, or whatever.
I didn't even pick up on that. I wasn't even thinking that the last time we saw him, he thought he died in a crash.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
But like he didn't know about the Darksaber, right? Gideon had the Darksaber independently.
Yeah, I don't think there were any scenes where he took the Darksaber out. Even so, like I don't think he probably knows enough about Mandalorian culture to know what the Darksaber is, because it's kind of been if anything, that'd be something that they embrace. They're like pretty much like an ultra orthodox, like like the child of the Death Watcher. They're very conservative Mandalorian cult almost.
Well, wasn't Bo-Katan Mandalore already before?
Yeah,
like
so
right at the end of Clone Wars. Yeah. So the fact that he doesn't recognize her,
yes,
probably says something there about saying like follow the way of the Mandalore. It's like, no, she's right there.
I actually like the Mandalorian kind of creed in the show a lot more than the Clone Wars stuff.
Well, it seems like it is trying to show the different sides of like Death Watch versus Bo-Katan and Satine, to kind of reconcile that or retcon that with what people would have expected before. Yeah, because I don't think it clashes to have both exist.
No, I agree. I mean,
what the Mandalorian Civil War was in both Legends earlier before the Clone Wars and canon, because there was like they were literally just fighting 20 years before the Clone Wars about this in both continuities. And both times Tyvoka died for it. I don't think Tyvoka actually exists in canon, but we can dream, and he will.
I guess I've never really cared about Mandalorians that much until the show. Like that's why I wasn't.
Nobody should, but
I guess I just wasn't I wasn't super pumped for this show. Well, I was, but the Mandalorian aspect wasn't what interested me. But I don't know. It's been winning me over. And I don't know. I gotta watch Star Wars Rebels again too, because there's a lot of that in there too. But we'll see.
I really like the way it does explore this kind of similarity between what it means to be Mandalorian versus what it means to be a Jedi, and those kind of found families. And that's another theme that's also in the sequel trilogy of like Rey finding not just the Jedi, but the Skywalkers in particular, the Solos, and trying to fit in within that. And then the Jedi are this found family, and that's the first thing that Din thinks of when he thinks I'm taking him to his own kind. It's not other Yodas, so Alex has to pay up to Mark. It's the Jedi.
Yeah, and that's like a thing that has been kind of prominent even since George Lucas was in charge, because he's got adopted children, and it seems to be something that's pretty important to him. And that's one aspect of the sequel trilogy that I do like, and that I think is a little bit diminished with the whole Rey Palpatine thing. I think it would have been much more interesting for her to be literally nobody, like finding her way into this family, rather than whatever the hell the movie tried to do. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose.
But they both make kids join warrior cultures, which is not epic. Jedi and Mandalorians are bad for that reason. The hygiene of the Mandalorians in Death Watch, I'm really questioning now. But just how bad must he smell?
Oh, just awful.
Like the end of every day, he sleeps in the armor. It's going to be sweaty as shit in there.
And he spends half his time on Tatooine.
So do you think this season ends with him taking his helmet off more, though? Do you think he starts to adopt more of the Bo-Katan side of Mandalorian culture, and then next season is more clashing with Death Watch. Or
no, I don't think so. I think that'll be a thing for next season. I think this season, maybe by the end, yeah, he starts to kind of learn the lesson that you've been kind of talking about. Or because we have seen the kind of theme of people are Mandalorian in action but not name, sort of, even in episode 1.
And that's Cobb versus like Boba, who owned the armor but wouldn't be considered Mandalorian by him. Cobb owned the armor, or had the armor, but wouldn't be considered Mandalorian by him, and he was willing to give it up. He did something honorable with it that would probably fit what Din's vision of what it means to be Mandalorian actually consists of. But then you have he meets these actual Mandalorians who don't do what he thinks Mandalorians should do. And so how that relates to Death Watch or Baby Watch, Bo-Katan's group, the whatever conflict ends up happening with Boba and Cobb, I think that's kind of the major theme for this season. And then next season would end up being probably related to how he reconciles all those things.
I mean, we see a lot in season 1 about how he wants to live one way, and like I'm kind of wondering if the show just ends with him and Baby Yoda just like leaving.
Or is he Mandalorian? He changes things.
No, I don't think so. Like
Bo-Katan's almost 50. She needs a replacement. She's looking to retire.
She don't even have a single wrinkle yet, dude. She's doing fine. Like, did you see her? Like those other Mandalorians made Din look like kind of a scrub, I thought, which was cool because like they're like, you know, they're Mandalorians. He's like some bum living on a dust ball. It's like been taking blue people into custody. Like that's pretty much it.
He fought in the Clone Wars?
Exactly. And he's just been like, he's been at like the Navarro bingo hall for like every weekend for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I get the feeling that there are certain aspects. I think he's kind of been grappling with the fact that there are certain aspects of his culture that he does really like. Like he clearly likes the honor part and the duty part, the keeping your word part, protecting. He seems to want to protect innocence even. He likes those things, but we see him grapple with like the desire to not dedicate maybe your entire life to war, or to maybe take your helmet off around people you love. So I don't know. I think I would like to see him kind of deconstruct, you know, whatever being Mandalorian means, and then take the parts he likes and take the parts he doesn't like. And maybe that means that he just wants to be a father. And then, because we've already seen him sacrifice, like the ultimate Mandalorian code is to not go back on your clients and to like never, you know, renege on a contract. So yeah, he's
not
clearly,
for nothing. The Jedi he's being sent to is someone who was removed from the Order and isn't necessarily a Jedi.
That's a great point. She even says, I am no Jedi. So yeah. And so she's like exactly what I can see him being. Like, she takes the parts of being a Jedi that she likes, you know, the doing good, fighting evil, and ignores the parts she doesn't like. Child soldiers, not banging people, presumably, I don't know, like stuff like that. And like having no attachments, which is kind of complete bullshit. Being a Jedi is easy, just don't ever love anybody.
Yeah.
And just like kind of blind adherence to dogma. So I'd like to see kind of a similar journey for him, I guess. And
yeah,
like I've been thinking, like, can the show exist without Baby Yoda? Can it be just The Mandalorian? Will the show do that? And I don't know.
I think it depends on how much they want to get into the Mandalorian conflict. So do they try to reignite the Mandalorian Civil War, in which case
I don't think so.
Baby Yoda just a setup to get him to think about what it means to belong to these groups, or do they want to merchandise more and refuse to do anything that would get rid of Baby Yoda?
I really don't think the show is going to depart too far from its Western roots. And that would be such like a hard turn into space opera territory.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I think that's a slight possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll still all be happening on kind of the fringes of the show.
Yeah.
So we'll get stuff about that, even if we are primarily focusing, and I hope this is what it stays with, on the adventures of new Boba and Wrinkles.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think is going to happen to the child then? Like, what would you? Obviously, you can't know for certain. But what would be your guess?
I think he'll get to Ahsoka, and she'll be like, "Ew, I don't want him. He's wrinkly," and then they'll have to go out and he accepts that his place is with the child right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Ahsoka taking custody of...
I think she 1000% will not. I'm wondering whether he's gonna look for Luke at some point. Because like I feel like he's going to go to Ahsoka and she's gonna be like, yeah, there are no Jedi. Like, he's got to be among his kind, the Jedi, and she's gonna be like, yeah, that doesn't exist. Like, there's like two of us, Kyle Katarn, and he's too busy, you know, at the club.
And I mean, if he ended up with Yoda or with Luke,
mm-hmm.
then we would have probably heard about him when Kylo Ren killed him.
Yeah. Unless he was at like the Junior Jedi Temple with
with Tion.
Yeah, exactly. He was just playing the harp and shit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna end up among the Jedi. I don't know. I think it could be a pretty wholesome story if he just stays with like the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian becomes kind of like an uncompromising father figure, because right now he's half into the father figure role. Like, he clearly loves the child and he does his best, but he's also like killing people every day.
Yeah.
Which is not epic for a child's development, I'm sure.
Yeah, and this is how we get into the Star Wars sitcom we've always wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at what point does the child become an adolescent even, or an adult? Like,
probably after the Mandalorian's dead.
Like, he's just, what's going to go on here? It's like buying a pet parrot. They live forever. You can't do that when you're already 30.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole you need a village thing, right?
Yeah. It takes a Mandalorian clan to raise a Baby Yoda, the old saying in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, like, does Baby Yoda just becomes a Mandalorian then? Is that what we're...
Well, he's kind of already, isn't he? Because he's a foundling, so... He needs
the way this is.
He needs his little armor. It'd be really cute.
Oh, I would buy that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Think of the merch sales, Disney.
Yeah. Speaking of, his little robotic, or his like repulsor lift sleigh got destroyed this episode, or mangled at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they'll be back to the old the traditional sling, the Baby Bjorn. Or
will next episode just be retrieving that and fixing that?
He got it, but like when they're rescuing Baby Yoda, I can't remember if it was Bo-Katan or one of the others. She like ripped the door off the hinge, and it was like it had been kind of crunched up because he closed the door before he was swallowed by that sea monster.
Well, Razor's Crest has been through worse, so you got to fix
it's a piece of shit.
You got to fix the ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I think there's. I'm not gonna say definitely, but if I were to, I would put money on there being one more episode before we get to Ahsoka, at least.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, we're getting maybe Boba comes back next episode or something, but
I can see that because like I could see him him learning that the Mandalorian's from Navarro or something, because. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that we are in the same part of space still. Like, he hasn't gone that far. Like, even... So... Which is kind of weird, because isn't Tatooine supposed to be in the galactic south? And then, like, all this stuff is taking place in the... Well, maybe the map he was looking at wasn't...
Yeah, it might have been rotated.
Rotated or something, just to put... Yeah. I like the idea of it all taking place in a very kind of small part of space.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll visit Tatooine again?
I hope not. Like maybe just a scene with Boba leaving, but we don't really see scenes that don't involve the
No.
Mandalorian. So
It's been like that one from the probably original Boba scene was maybe one of the only ones I can think of.
yeah. Well, yeah, that was Boba, not Cobb. Yeah, because it
Yeah.
was the boots. He
Yeah.
still has the boots.
Yeah. Yes, I did a very epic video on every piece of equipment he had. Guys, go check it out.
But I hope you don't go back to Tatooine.
I love Tatooine, but I realize they shouldn't go back. But if they do go back, I'll be kind of grinning. It's just I just love the seediness of it and like the cantinas and stuff. And
Well, do we need more of Amy Sedaris' dialogue? Like nothing against her. The dialogue that gets written for her specifically in this show, I
enjoyed her in
it's
episode
like
2.
watching episode 1 Anakin again.
It's not quite that bad.
They're from the moons of Iago, I think.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I thought she was.
I can turn into a wolf.
I thought she was fine last episode.
Yeah, it was better, but it's got that same prequel trilogy Tatooine feel to it that is both fun to go back to and somewhat off-putting at times.
It is kind of crazy hearing them say stuff like "idiots array" and whatnot, which I forgot to mention. Lots of cool Legends references.
Well, I think that's happened. That was already
Was that in Solo? Maybe. I mean, I know it was in canon, but it's just cool to hear it.
Because there was some sabacc going on in the background of Solo.
Yeah,
and I think there was stuff there.
Yeah, there definitely was. I'm waiting for the Pazak. Bring the Pazak.
Well, if any show is going to bring it back,
oh yeah,
it's Mandalorian, because we know between Trask, the Krayt Dragon scenes, Revan being in the background of every shot, they like themselves some KOTOR.
Mm-hmm. Revan being in the background of every shot. Speaking of planets, so the planet they're heading to now is called Corvus, which is the name. Yeah, it's also the name of the ship from. Is it a bird? I can't remember, but it's the name of the ship from Battlefront 2. So.
Yeah, the Raider without.
Yeah, the weird New Republic Raider, which turns into like a Nebula Star Destroyer.
I love the Raider, and I really like what they did with the Corvus modifications.
I liked it too, but it just clearly shows that there was more plot meant for that game, because the changes are literally just made between scenes, and it's kind of confusing because like the entire engine array on the ship changes and everything, so it's like not even identifiable from the back.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there was going to be a mission of like move this engine over here.
Well, no, but I think there probably would have been. I think there was maybe more cutscenes. There were maybe more cutscenes planned. Like that game had a lot cut out. And like the story, from what I understand, took some pretty wild turns in production.
But did I have anything else specifically written down here?
Would you eat from a place that had a seafood chowder pipe?
No, and I would be shocked by the fact that it seems like it's treated as a feature that live animals come out of the pipe. I would be like, no, I'm not eating this. But first, Dan is like, stop playing with your food. Get attacked by this giant
kids
squid.
being like killed by it.
Yeah, and then later on, I forget if it was Bo-Katan or the other girl, with like the tentacle just.
Oh yeah, coming out of the mouth.
Into her mouth.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was the other girl. That was Sasha Banks' character, who everyone was like, "Oh my god, she's gonna be Sabine." When like, she looks nothing like Sabine, and people were like, "They'll just not whitewash, but just change the race of the character." But it's like, they won't do that though. Like, I bet money they will. I'm like, okay. But I liked her character. I really liked her. I don't know why. I really liked her hair when she had her armor on. It was like she had like a like kind of braids and like a whole getup. I thought was cool. Kind of a weird thing to notice, but I pointed out to Kelsey. She was like, cool.
So because we got Vufi Ra, does that mean we're gonna get the Yuzon Vong invasion? Like that was.
I think they're gonna go to Navarro and probably try to get the old heap or the Great Heap to repair their ship.
So we're getting Silentium and Abominor in subsequent episodes.
Probably, yeah.
Wow. So like Nam Ainor has been Boba the whole time.
I think Nam Ainor is probably Grief Karga. That's why he's trying to. That's why there's so much. There's so much confusion wherever he goes.
We've got Uglith Maskers. We're full NJO.
That's what attacked. That's actually what attacked Baby Yoda. That wasn't the. It wasn't the. It wasn't.
It wasn't an organic Silentium.
No, sorry.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, then the whole theory falls apart.
You got to the right conclusion just the wrong way.
Oh, I do that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm also nearing the conclusion of Dark Journey in my NJO reread. So everyone thinks Jason's dead.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I forget if he's gone for the whole next 3 books. Is
he just being tortured at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Because this is after the mission to the world ship, right? Yeah.
So it's like the kind of just the
low moment for Jaina Solo.
Yeah, apprentice to Kip.
Yeah. And both brothers presumed dead.
Yeah, Leia knows that Jason's not dead, but
yeah,
that's
I remember that. Remember, there's a bit in Legacy of I think it's Legacy of the Force where Luke does that kind of. He does it on his own though. He fakes his death. He makes it seem like, again, poor Jaina. He makes it seem like Jaina shot him down, and then reemerges and is like, "Gotcha." She's like, "You caused me so much emotional harm."
Yeah, Jaina is like, I really like Jaina. Like her stock has gone up a lot with me during this reread.
I'm reading Harry Potter. I've been
listening. Not relevant to the podcast.
Well, it's still fun though. I'm on book 5 now. I've been listening to it as like audiobooks whenever I'm, up with the kid.
Yeah, but like, you always message me with this shit about like your family and other stuff you're doing. It's like, I don't care. Just Star Wars.
Well, it makes me think. I've been thinking, reading it, like comparing it to like the Young Jedi Knights and stuff.
Yeah. Which book do you say you're on now?
5.
5?
Yeah.
How far in are you? Is Sirius dead yet?
Sorry, is what? No, he's not. I'm just at like Umbridge became the. She just got her twirling lightsaber and is the Inquisitor now.
The Grand Inquisitor.
She's so hateable. I think number 4 will probably be my favorite because I've said this before. Really? I think the series works better as children's books than like semi-serious fantasy books, because like I think the books are best when it's just focused on their school life and like kind of the fun magic around them. Just me personally, but maybe I'm completely open to my opinion changing, because like 5, 6, and 7 are pretty serious, especially like they don't even go to school in 7, do they?
No. Well, they do at the end because it's the final battles at Hogwarts.
Yeah. Do they go to school in?
Goes and raids the.
Yeah.
Tomb.
Do they leave the school in 6, or like do they have a full school year in 6?
Yeah, they have the full school year, and then I think it's the last month or something that Harry and Dumbledore go to
the Ministry. Is it?
Locket. Yeah. No, that's when they go to get the locket.
Oh, okay.
Is it the locket? Yeah, I think it's the locket. And when they come back, that's when Snape kills Dumbledore.
Okay, so
it's like right before the end of the school year. So they have Dumbledore's funeral at school, and then
Umbridge is
Ron and Hermione that they're not going, that he's not coming back, and they're like, "Oh, we're going with you." Umbridge is
she's like
long. She's at the end of book 5. She's last seen. Well, actually, no. She shows up again in book 7 because she's running stuff in the Ministry.
Oh, I thought she was made headmaster for some reason.
No.
Okay. So were those books, were they written in advance? Like, did J.K. Rowling have like a full story, or was she kind of on the seat of her pants, of her turf pants?
She said she did, and I don't doubt that there was like a general idea, especially by the time that definitely by book 4,
Yeah, because the first three are kind of their own stories, really. Like,
Yeah, and she says like she had the whole thing, and then especially with the diary, but I don't think she necessarily had all the Horcruxes
mm-hmm. I mean,
planned out.
she wrote them pretty quick, didn't she? Like, did they mostly come out in consecutive years?
Mostly, I think there were still a couple that were like 2 years apart.
Okay.
Definitely, if you compare it to like George R. R. Martin or something, but
Yeah, well, he still hasn't figured out who like the Baratheon's third cousins are. So, like, how can you expect him to write a book?
yeah. So you got to have the whole family tree planned out, not just the family tree. Who slept with who within the family,
Mm-hmm.
and then know their exact connections. But yeah, when you don't have to worry about that, things get written a lot faster, which is why Star Wars is also kind of difficult because like the primary romantic interest in those movies are also family.
Yeah, I will say for A Song of Ice and Fire, when you read the books, if you pay attention and learn the family connections, they do actually pay off though. Like when you're like, oh yeah, that's someone's second cousin, right? And then they, like the first time they meet, you realize they should know each other, and then they do. It's like, okay, sick.
Yeah, pretty epic.
Yeah.
Any more about Star Wars?
That Gazanti was so cool.
Yeah.
It looked so good, and yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else from the most recent episode. Oh yeah, I really liked the Frog Man and Frog Woman meeting again. I thought that was legitimately a pretty sweet moment for frog people in costumes.
Yeah. And then those babies just hatched right away, or that one baby.
Yeah, that was weird. Considering it was unless it's like it's some weird alien species where like the creature's fully formed, it just needs like the sperm to like, it's like to turn on. In which case, yeah, but it's kind of a weird gestational period there.
Yeah, of like one day.
Yeah.
And then not only just being hatched, but turning into a decently sized little lizard from the tadpole. All in the space of like an afternoon.
Maybe
The previous one.
this was a previous one. Because
Okay, so they had their eggs, and they had a previous.
Because that would make sense if they only had one hatchling that maybe they only had one hatchling that survived until now.
Okay, yeah, that could be it.
That's gonna be my head canon.
Give them an interview and see how they're feeling about having Baby Yoda with them for a few hours. How they feel about Din.
Can you imagine? You just met your thick frog GF, and you're about to fertilize them eggs, and which I assume is just I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it. But then you're on babysitting duty from the truck driver who ferried you across the country.
Well, I don't know that there's much involved in there fertilizing these eggs.
Oh, there is. I've imagined it.
Gets over that tank, squirts some stuff in
but
it.
yeah, how do you think he gets himself ready? I'll say the frog pullout game is strong. That's all I'm saying. That's how
Look, if they could do this in an episode of the Magic School Bus, it's probably not that bad. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
I should rewatch that episode and see just how disturbing that was in hindsight.
I love when they go in the Magic School Bus that almost come out the kid's Arnold. They almost come out Arnold's butthole. They're like, nope, better turn around.
Yeah, it was either Arnold or Ralphie that they.
Oh, Ralphie, yeah, it was, or no, yeah, one of the two. I can't remember which one. Can you imagine? That's so invasive, man. Like
with the frizz? No way.
Scarred for life.
Your privacy. Going through your shit. Yeehaw.
Whole class sees your butthole.
I don't think he even knew they were there, did he?
Yeah, because he's like talking to them on the walkie-talkies or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like, could you check, like, can you do like a colon cleanse while you're in there? Like, because Arnold
had that weird cousin that would come around sometimes as well.
Yeah.
We'll save this for the Magic School Bus podcast. I think
That surely gave Arnold like cancer. Right?
Being or Ralphie having them inside him.
Yeah, Ralphie or whoever it was, that definitely gave them cancer. Like there's
No,
you don't think?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole year in that class somehow like raised all of their risk for cancer. But if it gave him cancer, they would have been able to see the cancer cells, and that would have made it a very different episode.
Well, it was just the radiation being put off, so like the cancer cells have.
I guess.
Did you ever see the Magic School Bus episode where they build the bridges in the bathroom? Because that one was sick.
That was the best.
That one
With
was
the
sick.
elevator,
Yes.
the toilet,
Yes.
I think.
That was sick.
That's definitely the best episode.
The other one that was good was when Miss Frizzle's running like the race, and they gotta go into her like muscles and clean off the lactic acid, and then like she's like, "Oh, I'm losing against this like very very handsome, very fit other teacher," and then they like go in there, they fucking get the lactic acid off, and then they pump the oxygen right in her muscles. Kind of cheating, but whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely cheating.
Doping.
The next episode was her tribunal.
Yeah, what a bitch. Anyway.
All right, I think that's the episode.
Oh, well, I got one last question.
Okay.
Why were the fishermen holding that giant fish on board?
Was it? See, I wasn't sure if that was on board or if it was just an access port down into the ocean. They chum the waters there and it comes up.
Yeah,
I was unclear.
I guess that makes a little more sense. Yeah, that's got to be that, right? I don't know.
Because it's either that or they have a hold down there. They happen to catch that thing that they haven't offloaded yet, and they were going to feed it because it's worth a lot of money alive.
Oh, that's a good. That's a good.
That's
a good.
I think that's how like crabbing boats and stuff work. You pour them in, and then that's in the hold, and then you go back. But you don't like offload it immediately if you have this giant expensive monster. You got to find the right seller.
That's a good explanation. I
didn't build a ship around having this thing as a pet in it. That's
well, I was like, maybe it's like for disposing of something. I couldn't.
No, because like when you're getting all this seafood, you don't want to kill them.
Yeah, no, of course.
You're specifically looking to keep them alive, so you have those big holds on those ships, and this just happens to be a bigger thing they caught that they haven't offloaded yet.
I guess
especially
that was just.
They know, like, we're gonna trap some people. This probably isn't the first time they've run this grift.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the most expensive thing they've gotten with the Beskar.
Yeah. Okay. I think that makes sense.
Like, there's plenty of reasons this could make sense, and it wouldn't have made sense for them to do a bunch of exposition after the fact on how they got to this point. So I'm willing to accept that it was probably one of those things without the Quarren having to say so.
I loved the all the like fishermen Quarren and Mon Calamari, just like a Mon Calamari just like with a turtleneck on. I'm like, yeah. Give it to me.
That's what Akbar is usually wearing when he's hanging out with Winter.
Yeah, no pants though. Just big fish dong. I'm just gonna let that one sit for a minute.
Don't let the big fish dongs just sit for a minute.
Yeah. I got my fish chowder for you here, baby.
All right, that's it. We're done. Go back on break.
Yeah, I should. Do we have any emails you want to cover before?
I think we do, but because we didn't really say what was going on with it, we'll probably we'll have one episode to talk about when you're returning, and we'll maybe do a bigger email section for that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a fine idea. Just looking to see if we got any new podcast reviews, and I am seeing a couple new ones. Guys, if you enjoy this, make sure. Oh, look at this. To describe this in one word, epic. If you're like me, blah 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 blah. The dynamic between these two is fantastic. It all makes for a cozy time while you listen. Also, the constant Harry Potter references are always tastefully placed. Huh.
And this time it was half the episode.
I still have the one that's 5-star reviews and says no choice. It's the only one.
That's good.
Only Star Wars podcast. Star Wars more like Star Wars. Truly an
But yeah,
intellectual.
leave those reviews on any of your favorite podcast
man.
platforms. Remember, make sure they're positive because you'll hurt our feelings otherwise.
5 stars. Number 1 in Hungary and our hearts. Came for the lore. Stayed for the Akbar winter fanfic.
It's not fanfic. This is canon.
Yeah.
Explicit canon. I don't know how much more clear we can make this.
Oh my god, these I love these reviews. These are so nice. So guys, if you want to make me happy, leave a 5-star review. Leave a funny review message, especially because we'll probably read it on the air if you do.
Yeah. And we'll be back. Probably not next week. Maybe we'll see how everything shakes out. Maybe 2 weeks
Maybe
from now.
another Mando podcast next week.
Okay. Well, the young Jedi Knights are waiting in the wings. The Darksaber is waiting on the shelf.
Don't want to talk about Darksaber. I think I'm gonna have another fucking child before I read Darksaber. I think.
But hey, it's next. You can't skip it like that. But doing the NJO reread, it's amazing how much is just like explicit references to stuff that happened in Young Jedi Knight.
No, it's awesome.
But yeah.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Corey, do you want to give a 1-word or 1-sentence final thoughts on these 2 episodes?
Yeah. So while Justin is cutting me off on his channel.
I'm actually not.
Oh, really?
We haven't even done our outro yet.
Okay. Well, I really like the way the season's going so far.
I'm just joking.
We're still live on mine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was just joking. Anyway.
So it doesn't.
Okay, you still like the way the season's going? Quite a bit?
Still like the way the season's going. Don't like the way this podcast is going anymore. I don't like that I can't go towards the end of an episode of anything we do together without getting this deep-seated apprehension over what will or won't actually end up in whatever we're doing, and not knowing like how long are you just sitting there laughing at me. Yeah, so that's it from me. What about you?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed both episodes. I too am pleased with the way the season's going. I'm curious what they're gonna do in this kind of middle portion here. Are they gonna do like they did with season 1 and kind of bide their time for a bit before moving the plot forward, or what? I don't know, but I'm here for it either way.
Epic. Well, congratulations to the entire Ladder family.
Thank you very much. We are all
give my best to
very tall and strong. Very tall and strong as a good ladder should be.
And it took a lot of steps to get there.
Yes, it did.
But yeah.
Oh, also, there is a new there's a new Wedge and Tilly story about Rogue Squadron in the new From a Certain Point of View compendium.
How big of a role does Corrin play in it?
None, but do you want me to spoil one character who returns?
Yes.
Mynock. We got him.
Wow.
We got Mynock. Yep. He's even...
Which is the R2 unit, or 4.
Wedge
the
Astro. Yeah, Wedge is Astro.
So we're unfamiliar with Mynock somehow.
Are there?
Looks like one.
People who are unfamiliar with Mynock?
I assume not, but, just gotta be explicit. Like, because all of my datapad videos, I make references to Luke, and I explain who Luke is.
Yeah,
so,
I do enjoy that. You may have noticed him. Oh, are you under lockdown again, by the way? How's that working?
Yeah, like nothing has really changed here ever. Me and Dana have been doing the same thing the whole time of not going anywhere.
Which is the same as before.
There was never any real reduction in cases.
We were even before quarantine.
No, yeah. But now there's some new guidelines in Ontario because it's just fucking skyrocketed. But Ottawa has been pretty okay the last couple days, where we've been like 20 to 100 cases on the bad days, which is not good, but it's better than it was, where it was like over 150 every day. So that's better.
Yeah, that could be worse. You're not like Toronto levels, at least, not big smoke levels.
But we were like from July to early September, we were occasionally ordering food, and we stopped doing that when we got over like 400 cases. Once we're down to like 450 right now, so if we drop below 300, we'll probably start like ordering food sometimes. If we get under 100, we might start actually hanging out with our prospective bubble. The big problem for us is just that we have to take public transit if we want to get to the people who would be in our bubble.
Yeah.
Also don't see anyone because that would be relatively safe, but getting there is difficult.
Yeah.
Are you guys still COVID free?
We had like, let me just see. We had like 5 one day, but I think we're still under 30 cases, maybe. Nova Scotia COVID cases. Nova Scotia active COVID cases. I can't see, but we're like 20. Like we'll have like 2 to 3 new ones a day. So it's not bad.
Yeah. And then sometime in the next 2 years, maybe we'll be able to have our live episode of our in-person episode of Tapcaf.
Yeah, I was thinking because our incel friend Charlie is locked down, maybe we should try to get him on for the next Mando review episode we do, because he does enjoy the show as well. And he can't read, so we won't be able to get him on any of the other ones, really.
Yeah, that's true. He's never going to read Heir to the Empire or even listen to Heir to the Empire, so we need to just accept that's happening.
You're 100% correct on that.
All right.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.